It caught me taking my glasses off the minute I pressed the camera button. I know on the screen on YouTube you're going to see the blank black screen on the sides, but this is how it works easy for me. My Seattle trip from September 8th through the 24th. The disaster of my life. But before I get into that, I love to pin pictures of cats and animals on Pinterest. I'm like obsessed with cats. I like to kick, scream, like my son does in play. I wish I could show you what my son does on the couch. It's so cute. I used to do it. Well, I like eerie, dark pictures of Halloween and castles and forests and bridges and very mysterious clouds. That is the way I work and how my soul is. I got the artist's artistic soul of the mindless genius. Or the headless horseman, I don't know. But going to Seattle, speaking about before Halloween time, summer turns into autumn. I'm there. I leave home in the summer and I return in the fall. I went on Greyhound, biggest mistake of my life due to fear of flying. Came home on Greyhound, and let me tell you, I thought I was going to have a fun time. I didn't have any fun. Layover after layover, bully after bully, sexual harassment after sexual harassment story. That's around the time Travis Barker and DJ AM got into the plane crash. I would demand it to my mom I didn't want to fly home, and the next day they got in a crash. Of course, that wasn't my plane, but I have a point of why I don't like to fly. When my mother heard that, she was like, well, that's not you. I was like, well, they almost burned to death. Fire's the worst way to die. And Philip have a fear of fire, and I was with Philip then after we met. He wasn't beating me yet. His mother was still alive, and we were still hot and heavy, pucker up. Kissy, kissy. He was my man, and he was my king, and I was his queen, and is my nickname. The Beauty Queen. If you look up my Facebook. And a lot of my videos aren't uploading, and I don't know what's wrong with this phone, but better upload. The bus got hit by lightning. No one believes me in Ohio. We're laid over for 24 hours. No, for 4 hours. Get back on the bus. Bus 70 miles an hour. I couldn't sleep. When I first tried to doze off, it stops in the middle of nowhere, and I thought we were going to get rear-ended by another car. In the middle of the Chicago Skyway. I'm taking pictures. Let me tell you, I never saw that camera or the development of those photos on the Kodak when I lost my digital. Or it broke, I don't remember, in 2008. And we had to get towed to the nearest station. It wasn't like the Port Authority, bus stop. It was a different Port Authority, like the 1950s style. And I saw like 15-year-old kids with kids and pregnant people. This woman going into labor on the bus and racist fights and people getting punched in the face and teenagers singing their ABCs. They're the pregnant ones. And I sat in the middle, and the person I was visiting told me, do not sit in the back. They're weird kids. I was put in the back, of course, in the middle of the trip. And it was probably worse. It progresses to be worse as I get there. When I get to Seattle in Washington State, a girl falls asleep on my breast. She says, you'll never know unless you try it. I knew she was gay. She's telling me about she had 3 miscarriages in 1 year, and she's 16. She's fighting with her mother. They sneak scotch on the bus for me. There was a war, and I threw scotch at some other girl, Beth, because she was picking on me. And I got thrown off the bus, and I had to wait, me and the girl. And Beth and I would not make up. We were fighting. And it was going to get physical. I told the driver, and once I did, he said, it's my fault, too. That's when the scotch went flying. Thank God I didn't get caught with that. And the driver was looking. He said, you smell funny. And he said, so no, you're the one that smells funny. You're still messing with that iPod. I was trying to sit in the front. He kept saying, I'm trying to drive. I said, well, it's my music. And there was this Mexican in the terminal. I'm going to be all over the place because I'm remembering piece after piece. And he was demanding sex out of me, and he wouldn't leave me alone. And I went to the first security guard, and he says he hunts for sex here every night. His name is Angel. He's from California. Then he shows me a bag of weed. And I did something very stupid in a Starbucks bathroom. It wasn't just the weed. It wasn't get higher than high. Oops, I had sex with him. And then I cried to Philip how I cheated, finding out that he was cheating worse than I did. I really felt so guilty. Pot makes you horny. That was my thing in the day. I'm embarrassed and ashamed to admit this. Then, the people's house I went to, I knew the girl, but I didn't really know her adoptive parents. I thought she was better than her mother. The girl's okay. The neighbors were okay, but her parents hit me with cowboy boots. They were beating me for money, and I'm the guest, and I had to give them money for rent. They robbed me. They asked my mother to wire them money, and I bummed a cigarette off a guy across the street. He was like, well, you can stay with us if they keep bothering you. Packed my luggage, and it got so bad I had to stay with him. He had 3 ex-wives living in the complex. His name is Robert Anderson, and he likes to spank girls' asses. And I slept on the couch, and the cat looked like my cat who died. My cat Furry, and their cat's name April. And one of the ex-wives was in the next room, and she thought I was sleeping with Robert Anderson, and I wasn't. He talked me into getting a BlackBerry, and he was one of those nerd geeks like my kid is. And I lied and said I was pregnant for attention. That's what I wanted to be. I always get what I want. Elisa never fails, and if she does, she fails trying. Or if she gets what she wants later on, she don't stop. It's like cars get in the way, I knock them down. People try to stop me doing what I want, I knock them down, shut them up, tell them what they want to hear. It's like Robert Anderson did with me. The cat scratched me, so I ended up in the bed with him. Thank God he didn't do anything to me, but he used to wake me 4 in the morning, sleep in the car, take me when he had to go to work at an aerospace or box thing. I don't know what he was doing, but I was not attracted to this guy at any point. I was happy I had a roof over my head until my ride home. Because I should have taken first 747 when they started beating me. They turned the nephew against me because they wanted Jack in the Box and I wanted Dairy Queen. I wanted to get my hair done. I wanted it because I saw this lady on the way there with these beautiful highlights. Like white, like platinum, flaxen. And I wanted to look like that. And the hairstyle dresser said I look better with the auburn highlights. And I was like, no. And it wasn't in my red hair phase. I had the brown hair with the blonde highlights then. Now the ombre thing is in, and I got to rock that once or twice, because accidentally when my hair grew out. But I don't know if I'll ever go back to my brown roots. I just don't like that color. I don't like black. I used to love black, but I got over black hair. You know, I used to like to switch it up a lot. And it was a disaster, the trip. I was hit by lightning, being bullied, having someone sleep on my breast, and it was numb. Then I got a rash, people fighting, being laid over. It was such a hassle. My iPod got stolen, money. I lost my Backstreet Boys CD. I left money at those people's houses. I had to come back for stuff. They didn't really want to see my face, and I didn't want to see theirs even more. And they wanted me there because they set me up. I got to see the Space Needle Tower on the last day. The guy, Robert Anderson, who I stayed with, took me where he wanted, a complete stranger. Turned out he was a cousin of the people I was visiting, who were from the Bronx. They said, well, you should talk like you're from Seattle. The girl I visited, who I had to leave, and she was hysterical crying, and I was in my heart. When I got to Robert Anderson's, I crashed, and there was a bee in the room all night. I couldn't sleep. I know it sounds like a funny story, but if you were living it, it would be a nightmare. Right, Mom? Wasn't it a nightmare? Tell the video about it, please. Tell them what you had to go through. My mom was making calls. She was like, you need therapy. And I was like, no, they do. They're retards. From the Bronx? They talk like Seattle people? Chinese people don't even develop American accents in New York. They learn English in Turo. How am I supposed to talk like I'm from the West Coast? I have an accent. They don't even talk like Washingtonians, and I'm supposed to talk like a Washingtonian? Oh. Think about the word Washington. Wash. In. Take the G out. Tone of a wash. Washing a lot of things. Like my mom is doing, helping her with the laundry now. Well, I stayed in Everett area, Kirkland, Seattle. I bounced around. Couldn't find a hotel. I spent all my money on the BlackBerry when my mom wired me more money. Feel like someone's around. Oh, it's a door. Let me tell you, it was a trip to hell and back. Going home was a lot worse because let me just tell you, I missed the bus and I got robbed in Chicago by some poor black man. He says, I need money to get high. And I was like, if it was for food, I understand, but for money to get high, no. I think he was a crackhead. I don't know. I didn't want to be around him. And he kept saying, I'll walk you to the bus stop. I said, no, I'll take a cab. Evidently, he knew by me saying that I was kind of naive in the day and I had money. And God only knows he had his hand in his pocket. He goes, you don't know what I have in my pocket. I handed the 20 right over. It wasn't worth my life for $20. When I have a gut feeling, I have a gut. Yeah, I wasn't really going to take a chance. I get my vibes with people. He was an elderly African American man, and he looked very serious. And it wasn't just because of his stereotype or demographics or a place in Chicago I was. It was because he had no teeth in his mouth, and I could tell that when people bucking on the trains, if they have teeth, they're telling the truth. If they don't, they want to buy liquor and drugs. Been around the system long enough to know this. The areas I lived in, I am very smart. And there was a lot more. My name got lost on the luggage. I lost my ID for a while and I couldn't find it. I mean, everything was a mess. And I used to be a sloppy person back then and throw everything everywhere. And the head of the complex called my mother that I took, this girl Gloria packed my dildo before she went with Benny and left me as a friendship before she went back in '09 to the friendship with me. She put it in my luggage, and for shock value, I took the dildo out, and waving it around to the people that were beating me up. And they called the manager of the complex and says, oh, Melissa Carter's showing her dildo to everyone. Yeah, I did. And what are you going to do about it, huh? What are you going to do? My business and my fucking life, and I do what the fuck I want. That's those. I don't want to say the name of this family, but you know who you are. And what goes around comes around. Karma is a bitch.